Nigeria's general elections are the most consequential elections we heard globally, especially in Africa, for at least 3 reasons. First, due to military coups and authoritarian reversals on account of bad governance, inept leaders, and poorly conducted elections. In some countries in the West African sub-region, there's concern about what would happen in Nigeria. Second, given the fractious nature of the Nigerian political class and the engagement in or with the electoral process as a do-or-die affair and the mobilization, some say the weaponization of ethnicity and religion, there is concern about electoral violence, which could escalate and lead to profound instability in the country. Third, there is a concern that if things do not go well in Nigeria's 2023 elections, the opportunity to project Nigeria as a model for democratic development amidst global resurgence of authoritarianism will be lost. For Nigerians, therefore, all hands need to be on deck to ensure that the country has free, fair, and credible, as well as peaceful elections that will usher in the much desired good leadership in Nigeria. This formed the basis for the call by President Muhammad Buhari's call on traditional rulers, religious leaders, and all stakeholders to work towards ensuring peaceful election, assuring that adequate security measures have been put in place to ensure that electorate are safe and secure during the election period. There is no doubt that the better the conduct and management of elections, the more the likelihood of improving the sphere of governance for addressing the fundamental needs and aspirations of the citizens. And key among what tends to make elections better is enlightened active participation of eligible voters in the electoral process. What are indices of the peaceful election, and what are the matters arising as the country's general elections draw nearer? This is what our guests will be examining tonight on Nigeria Today. Welcome to the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. Joining me to provide more insights on the peaceful conduct of 2023 election is Chris Agiri, Director General, the Flag Foundation of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Also here in the studio is Ade Mario Emmanuel, Director General, Coalition of Nigerian Youth on Security and Safety Affairs. Good to have you with us on the program.
Thank you so much.
Let's begin with you. Ade, how important is it for Nigeria to have a peaceful election?
Nigeria, being the giant of Africa, has become a point that the whole world is watching at this point in time. And the election has become very sacrosanct, that the whole world is looking beyond just the election, but looking at the result, the aftermath of the election. So 2023 election is very important to Nigerian citizens and the world at large. And we are confident that this election is going to be one of the best elections as far as peaceful election is concerned in the whole world, not just Africa alone. We are very confident that this election is going to prove that we've improved from tribalism and from religious sentiment to an advanced standard where we look at credibility, we look at potentials and skills, those that can actually frontier the agenda of a country to compete with other countries that have been ahead of Nigeria. So, and this election being very important, not just to us as citizens, but also other international community. You can see, as of today, some of the international bodies have arrived in Nigeria. Some of them were with the INEC chairman today to greet him and actually ask how far the preparation has been. This election is going to be one of the elections that will prove to the world that peace can be attained when all hands are on decks. So at this point, the INEC has taken a sensitization to grassroots. A lot of persons have been informed, a lot of persons have been educated, and in terms of security, INEC has also put a lot of mechanism and machinery in place. All we are just waiting for is implementation. Then another area is the area of funding, especially during this critical period where there is shortage of funds, scarcity of money. And the INEC has actually, CBN have told INEC that they will do everything possible to make sure funds are available for usage for INEC officials, to make sure that where the vehicles ought to take electoral materials to, those materials will get to those places. Because if the drivers are not taken care of, they might not really be able to transport these electoral materials to its destination of where elections will be conducted. So if you look at the security and also look at in terms of fund and also look at sensitization, you get to understand that Nigerians are ready for the forthcoming election, but implementation in the field also goes a very long way. That I know along the line at the course of the discussion we might be touching some of these areas.
Thank you very much. Chris, the other time you came on the show, you highlighted the importance of the traditional rulers and religious leaders. Of course, then we're talking about voter education to the less privileged. But today again, the president has called on the traditional rulers and also the religious leaders to warn their followers, you know, not to allow themselves be used by a few to foment trouble. How important is the role of this group of persons, I mean the traditional rulers and the religious rulers, in ensuring that we have a peaceful election?
Yeah, thank you very much once again. We've much ado about nothing, about the elections. One thing I want Nigerians, the political elites, my fellow compatriots to be conscious of is that the global attention focuses on Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest black nation in the world, and of course, the pride of the black race and the African race. And elections is normal. It shouldn't be a do or die affair. For us, as election observers, speak on behalf of other election observers accredited by INEC, we're ready. Irrespective of the challenges, we're ready to go on to observe the elections. Yes, from the point where we are now, going to the election, the die is cast. So I am calling on all Nigerians, not necessarily the religious leaders or the political elites, all Nigerians, that your future lies on this election. In other words, we should rededicate ourselves to national service. And I do not foresee, I don't even perceive any form of violence in this election. The device as a game changer, as we saw in Anambra, in Ekiti, in Osho, in the FCT here, it's a game changer. All these off-session elections ended peacefully, because the introduction of the device makes election seamless. There's no room for violence. About 65% of the voters, registered voters, are youth. And I must tell you, the Nigerian youth of today, there's little, of course, religious, political, tribal influences and sentiments is there. But the Nigerian youth looks beyond religion, looks beyond tribe, because, of course, there's been an existential challenge faced by all. So in the case of where you are facing an existential challenge, your tribe or religion, your political affiliation is secondary. I'm sure the electoral body, INEC, is ready. I spend most of my day in INEC, international observers and observation missions. We are trooping in and out, collecting some of the materials needed for the election. By tomorrow, we'll have the last briefing. All accredited observers, heads of observer groups at the International Conference Center. INEC, the INEC leadership will be addressing the observers that will go to the field to observe this election. So I want to reassure Nigerians Please, I do not see, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to fear. Yes, the cash issue, the lack of liquidity challenge is there, but necessity is the mother of invention. And so I crave the indulgence of all those who are not too comfortable or even comfortable with the current day, with the present day challenge of cash crunch and so on and so forth, to say, look, if you want to, the only way to change the system is to ensure that you come out on this day of the election. Truth be told, liquidity is needed in an election. A lot of mobilization. If you watch on the side of INEC, to mobilize men and materials that will conduct the election in 176,848,000 polling units is not a mean thing. Some in remote areas. But one way or the other, with dedication, that seeing this election as a service, as a patriotic service, first to yourself and to the entire nation, we will be able to have a seamless, peaceful, credible election. I will add that, look, like he said, Comrade said, Central Bank has assured INEC of the necessary support. The political elite themselves, as we are calling on the traditional rulers, I expect the front runners, the presidential candidates, to do a broadcast to their supporters. Like the hero of democracies we have today, President Jonathan, said that his victory, his election is not worth anybody's blood. I charge on all the major presidential candidates to do a broadcast to their supporters. I said, look, this election is my victory, and the elections is not worth anybody's blood. So that, we need to lower the tension. It is our country and no other, and nobody is coming to redeem or reinvent or recreate this country other than ourselves. In other words, this election, God willing, we helping ourselves, we go on and it will be peaceful.
Thank you very much. The election is not worth anybody's blood, so says Chris there. Let's take a breather here and hear from Nigerians on the topic of discourse as put together by our correspondent, Thomas Obetere. Stay with us.
So I want to call on our youth. It's true violence, because this is what we need to coexist. There is no peace. There won't be any leadership, anything called Nigeria. So it's true, we should eschew violence, tribalism, and vote for the right candidate.
We have gone past those stages of killing and dying for someone. These people were killing themselves, so their children are not even here. Most of them are schooling abroad, most of them are studying there, and then we, the Talakas here in the country, are the ones now killing ourselves. Have you ever seen a president or a governor or a senator's child on the queue voting? No. We are the ones that are the futures of this nation. So if we kill ourselves over this thing, at the end, we will achieve nothing.
You don't need to be violent over any issue. As a Nigerians, all you owe yourself is go to the polling unit, and cast your vote to your preferred choice, not to cause violence.
One advice I have for them is that both contenders, both people that is contesting, both the traditional rulers, they should go to the village, go to the town, go to the city, address people. What is election? Election is not all about problems, it's not about fighting.
Welcome back. It is still Nigeria today, and we are discussing peaceful conduct of 2023 election. My guests are still Chris Agere and Ademario Emmanuel are still with me. So, Emmanuel, you heard the reaction of people out there, and of course, in the other years in the past when we've seen this violence, it's been perpetrated mostly by the youth. The youth are the thugs. And someone there said, you won't see that the politicians have sent their kids abroad. So what do you have to say to that?
The truth is this, any election where there is violence, the youth does not just come out to be violent. Somebody instigated it.
That's right. That's the truth.
If you did not buy that arm, that AK-47 or that Demi gun to that young boy, he wouldn't have come out. He wouldn't have that guts to beat security checkpoints. But because these young boys that have been equipped with arms has godfathers, these godfathers also had one or two persons in the security architecture of the country whom, if they have been arrested, they quickly make calls. And these guys have been released at the back door. And this has led us to where we are as a country. One of these things that caused kidnapping that we've experienced in the past is because these politicians that buy arms for these guys, immediately after election, these arms are not being retrieved from them. And when you are no more servicing them, they might use it to make ends meet for themselves. But be it as it may, this 2023 election that is just coming in 5 days' time, a lot of youth are well informed, like ever before now. How is that? We, from the youth angle, because even when we try to push for the government to recognize us, how we can actually equip our fellow youth from the local community, they gave a deaf ear. All we did was to organize programs across the 774 local government. In 8 months, we were able to meet this mandate to tell our youth, if they bring arms, tell them to go and call their own children, so that their children will become the troop leader. If any of their children accept, then they should push ahead. Now, but this I can tell Nigerians in confidence, that an average Nigerian youth have seen himself no more to be a slave in the hands of any political leader. If you go to any community now and call any youth that go and fight somewhere, the first thing he will ask himself, of what value is that fight to my destiny? Of what value is that fight to my family? Of what value is that fight to my state, to my country? Of what value? So this election, from the youth perspective, we've just some days ago, he was with the CSO, and all the critical youth leaders in this country were in Army Resource Center. We also had the same program November last year, where we brought all the who is who in Nigerian youth down to Abuja, and we discussed extensively on going back to reorientate the mindset of all our youth and make sure that they did not join in the fight of these old men, because this fight of these old men has nothing to offer us. So it is now time for us to now sit and watch them do their dirty fight while we are there telling our youth in every polling unit, support the security agencies, support the INEC officials, make sure there's no violence. If anybody from your community is trying to cause any violence, let them know this election will come and go. We all remain in this community. That INEC official will go. That security personnel that was sent to monitor election will go. But we will remain as far as that community is concerned. So with this idea, with this preaching, it has really sunk to the mindset of at least 80% of the youth. And with this 80%, the other 20% remaining can be subdued in the polling unit. If any of them are trying to raise an eyebrow over any issue, there are technical, no, this thing should not be done this way. This thing should be done. Before you know, we'll get it right. And bet me you that this election, INEC officials will find it, except some part in the southeast. And we have actually told the INEC officials, the director of security and others, that they should partner with the youths in every community to make sure, when we talk about religious leaders alone cannot do it. In every community we have heads of youth organizations. We have the Peace Corps, we have the Manual, we have the Boy Scout, we have the Royal Shepherd, we have the Royal Ambassador, and many others. These people, bring them together in such communities and ask them to join the security agencies to protect their polling unit. They are from that community. They will do everything possible to make sure that there is peace. And again, our government, something can still be done between now and Saturday. The workforce of our security architecture in this country is not up to 1 million. It means that little or more can our security agencies do. So more volunteers are needed, just like the election observers. So like the Peace Corps of Nigeria, the MANOWAR, they have good numbers of personnel. With these two numbers, I think they should be going to about 400,000. It will also go a long way if these persons can be incorporated into the system to assist in all their local communities. So this will help a lot, and it will give us the expected result we need for a peaceful election, just like everybody has explained outside there, that a peaceful election is what we want. And these politicians, let them bring their children to come and join us in making this peace, so that they will not be outside there. And after the election, then they will now come to enjoy the merriment of it, while some persons would have died without even being cared, their family not being cared for.
Okay, Chris, one other thing we must not lose sight of,
yes,
is the upsurge of the fake news on our social platforms.
Yeah.
We see a lot of news on the social media telling us what, in fact, some absurd stories that are causing scare in the hearts of people. So how do we engender peaceful election in the face of fake news or even misinformation?
Yeah, fake news, misinformation is a reality. It's also a strategy. First, let me segment it this way. Anybody putting out information somewhere has an agenda. Those, we call them bloggers, who want to get traffic in their distance, are there. They're posting whatever you can ever imagine. They're just posting so they can get traffic in that regard. Others are those with vested interests that want to distort the truth, that want to cause mayhem in the society. Some of them could be politicians. You can see all sorts of news flying here and there. Of course, like we said, before you click that button, before you post anything, pause a little. Because in the case of crisis, nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. The information is coming from the mainstream media. The information is coming from government. The information is coming from the electoral body, INEC. The information is coming from the security agencies. Information that have been, processed and, certified as fit for the society. It's all about elections. It's all about politics and all politics. Politicians will apply all sorts of strategies to undermine others. There is those who are also, who are pushing for postponement of the election. All that is fallacy. There's no such thing. This election is going to hold and is going to end peacefully, beyond the imagination of the agents of disaster and agents of doom, who are enemies of the people, enemies of the Nigerian people. And of course, they expected hope for a better future can only come through the electoral process, where you can now vote in a leader, a political party, a candidate of your choice. So in other words, whatever information that's flying out there, pay no attention to it. You mentioned Southeast. I tell you, I am from the Southeast because a carrier of the Nigerian flag. That's why the Flag Foundation stands there. The people of the Southeast have resolved that other criminality you see that have been happening. Of course, enough is enough. If you know the worldview, the psyche of Igbos, enough is enough. Elections is going to hold seamlessly. And of course, in an election where you have no regime protection, the president's body language to bequeath the country a free, fair, and credible election, which himself benefited in 2019, is going to come. Of course, there's a marching order on the flashpoints. Some states, some zones where there's flashpoints. Nigerian security agencies, don't toy with them. They're equal to the tax. Of course, the citizens themselves will have to take our destiny in our own hands and say no to violence.
Thank you very much. We have to take our destiny in our hands and say no to violence. We must ensure that we succeed in having a peaceful election. That's it on Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to our guest, Chris Agiri, Director General, the Flag Foundation of Nigeria. Thank you for your contributions.
Thank you very much.
And also Ade Mario Emmanuel, Director General, Coalition of Nigerian Youth on Security and Safety Affairs. Thank you for your time and insights.
Thank you so much.
And to our viewer, thank you for always being there. Don't forget, Nigeria Today is weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch these and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I am your carrier, Clinton, saying goodbye.